Hey, what's up, y'all? You ever notice how the United States loves to play Captain Save-A-Ho to swoop in and save some countries, but only the ones that are financially or strategically useful? Yeah, weird, right? Let's break down why the whole World Police Act is less about freedom and more about money, power, and control. Because I'll tell you, they don't care about that village or dictator that's killing his people. Shit, they're probably friends with him. You see, the US only intervenes when it benefits them. We turn a blind eye to human rights abuses in places like North Korea or Congo. But if there's oil, rare minerals, or a strategic military position involved, suddenly it's, we must act now. These people are in danger. If you don't support us, you're anti-American.
Last winter was particularly cold, and the earlier crop of potatoes and barley was poor, so rations have been cut to a few small potatoes a day per person, almost 1/3 of what they were.
For example, no major intervention happened in Rwanda during the 1994 genocide. But Iraq? Oh, that's 2 wars, billions of dollars spent, and decades of occupation. Well, what's the difference? Resources. I mean, in Rwanda, nearly 1 million ethnic Tutsi and Hutu people were killed in a single 100-day span. Where were we? I thought we wanted to save the little man. Well, I'll tell you what happened. Rwanda doesn't have shit we want, so we turned a blind eye. See, we've all heard the chants, "We must bring democracy to this oppressed nation," which in reality is just a translation for, we must overthrow a government that won't comply with US interests. For example, the US toppling Iran's democratically elected leader in 1953, which was called Operation Ajax, all because he wanted to nationalize oil. Well, what do you know? That's bad for US oil companies, and you know how we love our oil. You have Afghanistan, Iraq, Libya. None of these interventions resulted in stable democracies, but they sure helped out our weapons manufacturers. I mean, the US is the world's largest arms exporters, accounting for 43% of global exports between 2020 and 2024. That's 43% from one country. We supply weapons to 107 countries in the world. In 2023 alone, our arms exports reached a record $238 billion because of the Ukraine-Russia conflict. Now, does this sound like we benefit from war? See, the military-industrial complex thrives on conflict. If there's peace, there's no reason to keep spending billions on bombs, drones, and tanks. We spent $820 billion on our military in 2023 alone. That's taxpayer money, by the way. So we kind of need war to justify spending of that magnitude. Major defense contractors like Lockheed Martin, Raytheon, etc. have insane lobbying power and profit massively from war. Also, US politicians often have financial ties to these companies, so perpetual war is profitable for them too. I mean, just one example. Nancy Pelosi has an annual salary of $223K as of 2025, but a net worth of $240 million. Now listen, I'm not her damn accountant, so I'm speaking out of pure ignorance here. But how the hell is your net worth 100 times more than your annual salary? That's like you or I making $62K a year, which is the US average, but then having a net worth of $6.2 million, then being confused when people ask, how do we get that? Are we damn magicians or something? I know the IRS will be coming after us. So let's go back to the war talk. The US has a habit of arming groups that then later become our enemies. So we funded the Mujahideen in the 1980s to fight the Soviets. And guess what? They morphed into the Taliban. Who would have thought? The United States also sold weapons to Iraq in the 1980s, only to go fight Iraq in the 1990s. Not to mention, the US sold Iraq 8 strains of anthrax in 1985. Now, where have I heard the name anthrax before? It's almost like our goal is to keep conflict alive rather than stopping it. But see, here's the problem. The government can't just start a war. They need the public to support it. They realized this in Vietnam when the media started covering war for the first time. The population was pissed. See, The media covered the Vietnam War in an extremely extensive and unflattering way, showing our well-funded military basically bullying and killing their farmers, which led to a huge anti-war movement here in the States. Many people hated what they saw. That shit was terrible for the pro-war politicians. They had to fix public perception. Enter media propaganda. Now they use emotional stories, exaggerated threats, and straight up lies to get people on board. Now, I'm not saying the World Trade Center attacks in 2001 were an inside job. I don't know that, and I'm just as dumb as the next guy. What I am saying is that George Bush and the pro-war politicians really benefited from those attacks and made a shitload of money, and luckily for them, they pulled out all their money out of certain airline stocks just before the attacks. Now, we know coincidences do happen, and these people just so happen to benefit from these coincidences and got all the war that they needed and wanted. Man, how lucky for them. I mean, then you go to the 2003 Iraq War, where we were sold on the idea of weapons of mass destruction. Except there were none. Of course there were none. Have you guys seen Iraq? No disrespect to the people or culture out there, but based on their older infrastructure, how the hell did Bush expect us to believe they had high-tech nuclear weapons back then? Weren't these the same people who tried to assassinate George Bush by throwing a sandal at him? Twice? So in conclusion, the US is not intervening out of kindness. It's about money, power, and keeping its global influence intact. The government doesn't operate off kindness. They don't care about us, so it makes you think they care about other countries. Look how they handled the Tuskegee syphilis experiment or the assassinations of MLK and JFK. Oh, and by the way, if you're interested in videos about those, just let me know in the comments. Anyway, if we really cared about human rights, we wouldn't be best friends with countries like Saudi Arabia while bombing other countries for freedom. A good rule of thumb is this: anytime change is happening, look at who's benefiting from that change. People typically aren't going to accidentally benefit from a massive change that they had the power to cause. It's planned, y'all. So next time you hear politicians talking about protecting democracy, ask, okay, and who exactly is making money off this? So that's why the United States is always sticking its nose into other countries' business. And while we can never just stay here in North America. You know the sad thing, some of these young kids out here don't even know the US is in North America. But I'll have a video on that coming out soon. Now, anyway, I hope you all liked this video, and thank you for staying till the end. If this opened your eyes, hit that like and subscribe button for more breakdowns of how the world really works.